devoted to questions, and there are some written questions. Okay, so the first is, okay, which sutra in the northern tradition, that's the tradition preserved in Chinese, indicates that access concentration is sufficient for one to become a stream enterer? Actually, it's not only to become a stream enterer, but it's to become even an arahat, that it's possible to achieve arahatship without attaining the full jhana, but one could achieve it on the basis of what's called, in the Theravada tradition, it's called access concentration. In the northern tradition, it's called something similar. I don't remember the exact expression. Maybe Poe, do you remember? Do you know the exact expression in Chinese? Hui Dao Ding.
味道地 定
What is the D? What is the D?
It's bhumi,
Bhumi, I see.
the ground.
So Wei Dao, not having arrived at the Bhumi
Right.
Ding concentration.
Yes.
Yeah. So Venerable Jishu can do it, a search in C beta for that particular string of characters. Since this question is coming from Venerable Jishu, a nun who's resident here, I will have to, I have to do like a search for it. But since he's here all the time, I could search and then give her that information at some other time. Otherwise, it'll take me like 5 to 10 minutes to start searching, and there are a lot of other questions to be answered. Okay, so now we come to, okay. Paul Wei is also here all the time, so but anyways, some of her questions might be of interest to the group. Okay, 4 pairs of sense consciousness, wholesome and unwholesome, resultant alike, are accompanied by neutral feeling. Why is that so? Why is it unfair for that person who had done something wholesome in his previous life? I don't know why you ask why it's unfair. Because they're getting neutral feeling rather than pleasant feeling? Anyway, I could just explain that in the Abhidhamma, okay, the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, those resultant types of consciousness are accompanied by neutral feeling, whereas the resultant bodily feeling is accompanied either by a pleasant feeling or a painful feeling. The reason for this, it's said, is that in the case of contact through the eye, ear, nose, and tongue, sort of the object is somewhat remote from the immediate sense base. And so the contact of the object with the sense base is a little bit dull, and so the resulting feeling is neutral. But the contact with the body, it's the tactile object crashing right up, well, if it's a painful feeling, crashing right into the body base, or if it's some smooth and pleasant tactile object that's coming in contact directly with the body, and so it will give rise to a pleasant feeling. This is what is said in the Abhidhamma, but if we put aside the Abhidhamma standpoint and we look at the Sutta perspective, it says that in connection with whether it's a process through the eye, through the ear, through the nose, through the tongue, through the body, or through the mind, that contact can give rise to either pleasant feeling, painful feeling, or neutral feeling. So from the practical standpoint, what's important, I think, or what's of value is the sutta point of view, since that corresponds with our actual experience. The Abhidhamma distinctions seem somewhat theoretical to me. And I have to say, on that point, not completely convincing. Okay, so now second question. I said that there are two kinds of self defined in the Buddhist teachings, or I said two aspects to the use of the word self. One is to refer to the metaphysical self, and the other is referring to the conventional usage to refer to the individual person. So then the question is, what is the meaning of metaphysical exactly, and does it include the conceit I am? Okay, I thought I explained metaphysical, but the way I understand it is not necessarily the object of a philosophical reflections on the nature of the self, but it's, even for ordinary people, it's the implicit assumption all the time that there's some kind of real subject standing behind our experience that's constant, that's the constant, unchanging subject of all of our experience. Someone who is the seer of sights, the hearer of sounds, the thinker of thoughts, the feeler of feelings, a subject that remains constant throughout our experience. So that is I would say, the sort of implicit, ordinary person's assumption of the existence of a, quote, metaphysical self. And then if somebody is somewhat philosophically sophisticated, then they'll start to reflect upon that implicit notion of an inner self. And then one comes up with the various kinds of theories about what is the self. Like we have Descartes reflecting, I think, therefore I am. And so because I can think and verify my existence on the basis of my thought, so therefore what I am is a thinking substance distinct from the material substance of the body. So then we have the division into mind and body, and the mind is the self, the body is something which is the machine that accommodates the self. Okay, third question. Is it possible that the mind base is also material? Does any Buddhist school hold such a position? Yeah, certainly within the Theravada system, the mind base is not material, but it's mental. And I think in all of the other schools, probably the mind base is taken to be a mental entity. But I think we spoke about this earlier. The Theravada commentators seek a material basis for each of the senses, and so or for each of the types of sense consciousness. And so the physical eye is the base for eye consciousness, the physical ear, or the ear base is the base for hearing consciousness. And so the body is the base for body consciousness. And then seeking a base, and here maybe there's a little confusion because there are two different Pali words. Okay, so the word when we discuss the 6 bases or the 12 bases is ayatana. But then there's another word, vatu. Vatu is taken to be the physical material base for each of the types of consciousness. And so the Abhidharma commentators say the ear is the base for ear consciousness, the eye for eye consciousness, the body for body consciousness, and then seeking the vatu for mind consciousness, and for the mano and the mano-vijnana dhatu, they say that the base for those types of consciousness is what they call the hadaya vatu, which is the heart base. And they identify the heart base, as I said the other day, it's not the organ, the heart, the beating heart, but it's said to be a subtle kind of matter in the region of the heart. And that serves as the vatu for mind, for the mano dhatu and mano vijnana dhatu. Okay. The 5 faculties of feeling are exactly the same as the 5 types of feeling, no differences between them. So is it correct to say that giving them the name of faculty simply emphasizes the predominant role of feeling in our daily life? Yeah, I think we could say that that is the case, that the feelings play such a dominant role in determining like our whole state of consciousness. And so in a sense, the word indriya means that which rules, that which controls. And so feeling has such a controlling influence over our lives. And so I think for that reason, and the feeling also at the micro level, it has a controlling influence over the mind and the associated mental factors. So because of that dominating role of feeling, they're called indriyas. Okay, about the 3 phases and 12 aspects, their sequence is somewhat different in the corresponding Chinese sutra. Instead of 3 by 4 format as in the Pali version, it's 4 by 3. I see, so it goes through first, this is the first noble truth, this is the second noble truth, the third noble truth, the fourth noble truth. Then it goes through the first noble truth should be understood, the second noble truth should be abandoned, the third noble truth should be realized, the fourth noble truth should be developed. Then the first noble truth has been understood, the second noble truth has been abandoned, the third noble truth has been realized, the fourth noble truth has been developed. Yeah, so you see, because the suttas were transmitted in different lines of transmission, and so it's natural that human memory, being a little bit fallible, or a human way of arranging things differing from one person to another, so it's just natural that there will be differences in lines of transmission.